So we are finally on the other side of that conversation that was so difficult between just myself and my husband. And I want to be able to follow up with y'all just so that you can kind of see some of the steps that we took. And again, we're a securely attached couple. So some of these steps might be a little bit different for you and your relationship. Welcome back. I'm Virginia. I am a licensed mental health therapist. I'm also a couples therapist. And I am going to try my best to remind myself to put the link to the previous video in the description box below so that you can hopefully watch them in order. So, just a short recap. Again, my husband and I won't say that we had an argument. It was an intense discussion or an intense conversation that I just wasn't really sure how we were going to get to the other side of that, even though I work with couples all day long. So I kind of share with you just kind of how I ended things. And I followed up the next day, which was just yesterday, and just kind of told him like, hey, honey, like I get that there's a lot going on. There's a lot in terms of being able to try to keep the peace and trying to have the best fit for every single person in the situation. That's a tough spot. And so I just want to let you know I'm not going to keep bringing this back up. And so he said, oh, I appreciate that. And he ended up taking a nap. And we just had just kind of an easy day. I know that my husband loves a good meal. And so I just made sure that I just really just took care of him that afternoon in terms of making sure that he had something really yummy to eat that, just kind of like put his heart and mind at ease. And again, I'm from New Orleans, so like one of our love languages is food. So forget gifts, acts of service. We're like food. Please, good food, please and thank you all day long. So just made sure that he ate really well, had a pretty easy day. And the other thing that I made sure to do was just kind of kept the house moving. So we just kind of kept going through our normal routine. That other piece that I would say that I did that, again, I wasn't 100% sure is I just committed to not continue to bring it up over and over and over again. Oh, I forgot one other thing that I did was I did ask him if he felt like he had some capacity to kind of hear what my thoughts were in terms of how to intervene. He said, I don't know about that. So I said, okay. I let him sleep on that the night before. And so the next day I said, hey, I think you should just be honest, with your family and just tell them, hey, this is the situation. We can't get some of our money back on this. And so we're just going to go ahead on and move forward with what we originally had planned. And, still, of course, invite them along with us as well. And so I said, but you can do whatever you want with it. And that's when I said I wasn't going to keep bringing it back up over and over again. Because I know my move. My move when I'm anxious, I'm concerned about everybody's feelings. One of my moves is to keep talking and to keep asking questions. And I really needed to just give him some time just to sit with it. And the other thing that I did remind him of is one of his moves, whereas when he really, really cares about a thing, sometimes he'll wait until he feels more peaceful to try to have the conversation. But the trick is with his intervention, just like mine, the intent is there to be able to have the least amount of conflict and hopefully have everybody happy. The result is that sometimes his family is really angry with him because they feel like he just drops things at the last minute and tells them things at the last minute, which is not the case. The case is he's really taken a lot of time to be really thoughtful, really try to prepare the message that he wants to say, how he wants to say it. And so I commend him for that. And it's so sad every time that it just kind of goes sideways. So neither one of our protective moves when we're stuck in this pattern are the most helpful to anybody that we love and care about. And so both of us just kind of being aware of what our moves were, but then we're grown at the end of the day, being able to make a decision about how we want to manage our own anxiety with trying to please everyone. So I let him kind of, do his piece because I feel like I took the responsibility that was mine some of my anxiety sometimes will try to get me to get other people out of their anxiety, which just makes them pissed off. And they end up being upset with me because they feel like, oh, I'm meddling too much, or I'm asking you too many questions, or I keep bringing up something stressful. And all they are trying to do is turn down the volume on whatever it is that is stressing them out. And here I am turning up the volume. Oh, don't forget. Oh, don't forget. Oh, don't forget. And I think that I'm being really helpful, and it doesn't come across as helpful. That's just not how it lands. So I was regulated enough to be able to notice my move, stop my move, take responsibility for the part that was my part, which just as his helpmate is just to kind of say, hey, look, like, I think this would be something that might be helpful, but I respect whatever decision you're going to make. I just respect that, and I'm not going to keep bringing it back up. I'm going to let you do your thing. So that was my responsibility. Was it hard to leave it alone? Yes. Yes, it was hard. Y'all, it's hard. But as a couples therapist, I knew that that was the best thing. But also as his wife, and not just as his wife, but as a Black woman married to a Black man, I know that respect is the utmost importance to my husband. And so for me to keep bringing it back up actually would land not just in a way that could seem annoying, it could come across as being disrespectful, which is like the ultimate offense. And so I definitely didn't want to come across that way to my husband either. So I made the choice just to try to manage some of my own anxiety because it wasn't easy for me to just leave it alone. Part of my story, part of my history, y'all, is to fix it. What? And I became a therapist. What? Everybody's surprised, right? Please tell me y'all are surprised. So I love fixing things, but a lot of times when we try to fix, it just doesn't land that way. It just doesn't land that way. So we need to respect not only the intentions that we have for our loved ones, particularly our partners, but we also need to respect how that lands and take responsibility for the part that's ours. And so that's kind of what I started to do, was like, okay, what can I do to get myself a little bit more grounded? What can I do to regulate my own nervous system so I don't keep going to my protective move? So some of the things that I did was to self-regulate. So I made sure that, again, I love cooking. That's something that helps me regulate. I'm thinking about all these wonderful things that he loves to eat and ways to make it special for him, ways to make his day really kind of easy and simple. But I'm also doing some grounding. I'm taking a big breath and smelling all the things and tasting all the things and just enjoying that process of just preparing some lovely food for my husband, because that is my love language, just in terms of being able to show care and show love with hospitality and with warmth. The other thing that I made sure to do is when it was time for bed was made sure that we had some extra time just for some touch. I'll be really honest with you. Again, a lot of times we like to think about touch with our babies and with our newborns, and we don't think about touch with men. We don't think about touch with our spouses, our partners. We just don't think about it because we think, oh, we're adults and we don't need it. Touch is really important. And so I made sure that I had some skin to skin time with my husband. So I, took some time to rub his chest. I took some time to lay on his chest. I took some time just to cuddle up next to him. And so these are some things that I knew would be helpful for his nervous system. And so in addition to a lot of the self-regulation that I was doing, I did co-regulation in a way that would be helpful and supportive to his nervous system. Now, was he asleep when I was doing a lot of this touch? Yes, he was, because I didn't want that to be miscommunicated as there was going to be anything else. So I'm literally just trying to let him know, like, hey, look, I love you. I care about you. I support you. I see you. I respect you. And so I let it alone after that. Because ultimately that's his responsibility and I can't take that from him. So nor would I want to. I value him as a human being. I value his wisdom and I value his the beauty of just him being in my life. So I left it alone. Thankfully, I was rewarded by not having to wait too late. There's a joke in my household that mommy's not patient. Mommy doesn't like to wait for things, which is why sometimes I'll go in and jump and help some more, right? Not that anybody else out there would possibly be doing that either. So, but I was rewarded by that the next day. Got up. He said, "Hey, I had the conversation with my family. It went well. You know, they kind of felt like it was a little bit of miscommunication on their end with him." And so I'm like, great. Like me and him had just a little miscommunication. They had a little miscommunication. It's okay. We can love each other. We can care about each other. We can move forward in relationship, even if there's miscommunication. The trick is being able to slow down enough so that the situation that you're dealing with, the miscommunication that you're dealing with, is one isolated situation. Instead of like not dealing with it and then it piling up to more things and more things and more things and more things. And then it becomes this huge rift in a relationship, or people are feeling like they're needing to walk on eggshells because there's so much stuff that's swept underneath the rug. And so I'm thankful that that's not the relationship that I'm in, but I did want to just follow up with y'all. I know that people are asking me like, but people are asking in an interesting way, which is I didn't know people did this. Whenever they have questions on YouTube, they'll ask on Instagram, which okay, I get needing some privacy with some questions. But some of the questions that I was just getting asked was like, hey, how did this work out between the two of y'all? How did you manage this? I mean, you're a therapist, but you're also a wife. So how did that work? So, because again, I'm not his therapist. I'm his wife, and I'm glad to be his wife. So, I have videos like this all the time, y'all, just in terms of navigating life with a chronic illness, but also navigating life as a business owner, as a wife, as a mother, as a daughter, as a friend, as a human being who's operating in the world. And so if any of that stuff sounds interesting to you or anything I've said that was validating or helpful in some way, I do ask that you would subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so that way that you're getting updated on the new videos that I'm sending out. And I really hope that you would do something lovely to take care of yourself today, but also to do something to take care of those that are in your life. Till next time.